Hey everybody, my name is Duan and welcome to my channel Faithfully Living, where we learn how to study the Bible together. In this video, I'm going to be talking about practical theology. But before we get started, do me a favor by subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. You can also follow this channel on Instagram at Faithfully Living. Alright, let's get started. So practical theology is the study of Christian beliefs as they're found in the Bible. But it's more than merely knowing what the Bible teaches, but how to apply those beliefs to life situations. So when we look at practical theology, it is applying the Bible to ourselves, the church, and in the world at large. So we ask the question, how then shall we live? So when we look at a particular passage, we try to interpret that passage and then grasp what God's intended meaning of that passage is. And what practical theology is, it tries to capture in our lives and in the lives of others what the author intended to communicate. So practical theology kind of flows out of all the other theological disciplines such as exegesis, biblical theology, historical theology, systematic theology. So practical theology applies these to help us glorify God and to live wisely and from a biblical worldview. So as Christians, how can we utilize practical theology in our Bible study?
So I would like to interject a thought here. In this section of the video, I am talking about how the Old Testament is applicable to our lives as followers of Christ. Remembering that while the Bible was not written to us, but for us, every part has some lesson for us to learn, like the original audience of the Bible.
So let's look at an example of the Mosaic Law. So as Christians, we're not legally bound to the Mosaic Law, but we can't throw the law out itself because it's still a part of the Bible. So what we can do, we can look at the pattern that the New Testament authors prescribe as looking at it as being profitable and instructive. So how can the Mosaic Law be applicable to us? So I have three things. The Old Testament law clarifies to us as believers the character of God. It serves as a prophetic witness to Christ, and then identifies how deep and wide love for God and love for our neighbors should be. So let's go over these in a little bit more detail. So the law portrays the character of God. Let's look at Leviticus 11:45, which says, God says, "For I, the Lord, am the one who brought you up from the land of Egypt, that I might be your God. Therefore you must be holy because I am holy." And let's look at Exodus 19:5-6, which says, "Now if you will obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my own special treasure from among all the peoples on the earth. For all the earth belongs to me, and you will be my kingdom of priests, my holy nation." This is the message you must give to the people of Israel. So you can see in these verses, the character of God we can see is the holiness of God. So next, the law anticipates and points to Christ. We can see this in Matthew 5:17, which says, when Jesus is talking, he says, "Don't misunderstand why I have come. I did not come to abolish the law of Moses or writings of the prophets. No, I came to accomplish it." Jesus was saying he did not come to take away the law of Moses, that he was the fulfillment of it. So the last one is the law clarifies the makeup of love and wise living. So in the Old and New Covenant, love is what God's people do. They stress how love for neighbor really proves whether we love God. And all of the other commandments just clarify how we're supposed to do it. So Jesus goes a little bit further and says in Matthew 7:12, "Whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets." And Jesus also said in Matthew 22:34-40, "You must love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself." The entire law and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments. So as we look at the Mosaic Law, we see it shows us the character of God, how God interacts with us as a people. Then it also points to Christ. It shows us how God had a plan from the beginning, and it shows how Christ fulfills it. And it also shows us how we're supposed to live by loving God and loving others. So in practical theology, we are learning how to apply the Bible to our lives, but we also want to make sure that we understand the context of the passage and how it does and can relate to us as Christians today. So I hope this video was helpful for you in understanding how to utilize practical theology in your Bible study. Thank you for watching this video.